No worse to the CBC today because we got something more important, and that's a big congratulations to be thrown out to Adamson's BBQ in Etobicoke. This small business and restaurant was the first one to defy Doug Ford's ridiculous new lockdown orders, allowing itself to be open for lunch. Now, some might be thinking, oh my God, how could they do this? They're literally murdering everyone in Ontario. Them opening their business will kill us all. But Wal Mart and Loblaws and Costco, them being open is fine because doctors said so. Okay. Now I'm going to do something called intellectual consistency. Now, if you're from the CBC, take notes. It means I'm going to hold the same positions on these issues in March that I do now in November. Right, and this is kind of the reason I've never joined the front ranks of, let's say, the anti-mask protests or been an anti-masker. I thought, most of it is fine, but, you see this a lot. When people would go into, like, Walmart and protest the measures in the Walmart, I've always said, that's ridiculous, okay? Small businesses, private industry, people who own their own property have the right to say, here are the rules. If the WHO declares it's a pandemic, we say social distancing and wear a mask. This is how you conduct yourself on our property. That's fine. Now, you can disagree with them. You could say this is based on false metrics, but they have the right to do so, right? It's like, you can't tell me to do this in a public park. That's where I'm with you, right? Now, flip that around, right? And I say, this business still has the right to decide. So if Adamson's BBQ wants to be open and serve customers, they have the right to do so. You think it's so terrible? Don't go. Don't go. Block everyone who says they're going to go, never be friends with anyone who wants to live their life again. Never go outside your house. Never talk to anyone who goes outside their house. And you just live your life in your basement, covered in fear until infinity. Have fun. Be an individual. Go for it. Now, the fact that the police showed up is so peak friggin' Ontario. But what was amazing, balachulala al-shalah, is they didn't get a fine. They actually managed to push back enough, and Doug Ford was too scared to fine them. Because he knew if that goes to a court years from now, of course it's going to be thrown out. There is no right the government has. The government has no constitutional power to say, you can't open your business right now, or you can't serve people. Like, it's ridiculous. Now, what should businesses be doing? I've said from the beginning, if we were just honest with people, if the government just didn't lie and then fearmonger to start, and then double down on the lies, and then increase the fearmongering, we would probably have a society where everything would be open right now. We'd all probably most of us be doing masks and social distancing. We'd all be very comfortable. We'd be understanding the risks. We'd say, okay, it's a pandemic, right? I'll go to Adamson's BBQ. I'll wear a mask when I talk in line, and then I'll go to my table, and I'll just eat my thing there with my little group of people I came with. We won't go out and, hug everyone. We'll be reasonable. If the government had asked, hey, everyone, we're not really sure what's going on. We can't really trust the numbers coming out of Wuhan right now because the government's an authoritarian one. So what we say now is probably not the hard truth. This is just some preliminary pandemic measures. It's going to change in a few months. Please listen to the experts. Just wash your hands. That's the most important thing. Wear a mask, and, we'll try and put hand sanitizer at the beginning of each business, and we'll figure this out together. If they had gone with that, no one would be probably out there screaming. But instead they went with, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. It is fact. The WHO says this. And if you disagree with the WHO, we'll delete you off social media. We'll excise you from society. You must obey. And then it's like, no, wait, but they're saying communist propaganda. Look, it's clearly untrue. It's not true. And then when the WHO said, well, actually, lockdown measures might not work, well, then we don't need to listen to the WHO anymore. Right? So it's been clear that the government's priority was never really the health and safety of the people. Right? It was, I think, primarily using COVID as an excuse. You could say either to expand federal authority, which I think is actually the secondary excuse to them. I mean, that's a big conspiracy game, and yes, it's happening, but I think the biggest motivation for politicians is actually the excuse for failure. I think that's the number one COVID thing. I think it's the ability to just say, well, we tried to do the best we could, but the reason my numbers were so bad and everything so bad was COVID. I couldn't have done anything. Well, I think it's that sort of the, if they just keep everything kind of locked down and everyone else kind of keeps something locked down, and you just go, well, I didn't, it was COVID. And then they can scare you into say, I was the one who took the hardest measures. I said no one was allowed to breathe when they're outside their house. I'm the number one I think that's actually the number one motivating factor, not so much the expansion of federal authority, which, of course, is a prime goal of some of them. But it is important that Adamson's BBQ wasn't fined. And if they were, I mean, this video would have been a lot different. I would have been talking about all the things, and this would have been a video about depolicing. That's the current theory in Ontario right now, depolicing. By the way, if you're a gangbanger, gangster, just go ahead and murder right now. We don't care about that. Gun violence will... If a gangster in Toronto if a gangster in Toronto walks into someone and just shoots a bunch of 4-year-olds, boom, 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 boom. Don't worry, the government's on it. They will be going after people who own rifles in Alberta by next Tuesday. All right, that's depolicing. No worry in getting the gangsters off the streets. Just make sure you're not going to that barbecue joint in Etobicoke. So, I'm glad that there was enough of a social media sort of pushback and bringing them to light that they couldn't really find this business, which is great. The next thing is Spartacus, guys. You know, who's the next one to say, screw it, we're opening up too, and then just, you're going to have to shut us all down by force, and like, it's just not going to happen. You have to come up with more reasonable measures, because I'm sorry to the histrionic technocratic class right now going, how could they? How could they? Oh my God, they're so evil, they're so stupid. Ah! Why can I go shopping at Costco, but I can't go shopping to small business? Explain it to me. Explain it to me, fancy lawyer friends. Explain. Why can I go to the stores that have the money to lobby the government and I can't go to the ones that don't? Is that what the scientists said? Did the doctors come up with a study and saying government lobbying funds make things more sanitary? The more money you can slip to Doug Ford or Justin Trudeau or Aaron O'Toole or one of those fools, the more sanitary the environment becomes. Seems like it. So good job on Adamson's BBQ. Listen, everyone knows I'm a fan of anyone who takes a fight against an immoral, corrupt, fake conservative government. So you have my undying love and affection. As soon as I get access to a car, I'll get a pulled pork sandwich. Those are delicious. Maybe a brisket, maybe a combo. We'll do it. We'll do it up, Adamson's BBQ. And everyone's invited to join me because thank God someone did that. And good thing on the cops are actually backing down, realizing they have no recourse here. And you know what? Federal government, provincial government, every government, come up with more reasonable measures. Explain them based on data to the people. And then maybe we'll listen. But just screaming that we're stupid if we don't listen to you when you don't provide evidence for what you're saying. Sorry. It's not going to work.